Holy moly, guys. Technical difficulties today. I'm going to move this over just a bit. I'm trying to see if I can get it any closer, but I think that's gonna. Here, let me see if I can adjust my angle. There we go. There. All right. Let me get set up over here. So tonight, I was supposed to be filming videos for the Back Quarter Shops thing. Show Socialites 3 because I'm behind. But then I decided I didn't want to do that yet. So I thought it would be nice to put together, I'm going to move my camera over just a little bit, a couple of scrappy blocks for, I don't know, a scrappy quilt maybe. There. So I've been watching, I'm not really a scrappy quilter. However, ooh, that's a, hey Kate. Hello, hello, welcome. I feel like I'm crooked because I'm sitting pretty far over. No, I'm not a scrappy quilter. However, I got a ton of scraps. So I'm more of a controlled scrappy. So I thought I've been watching Lori Holt videos. And she has, I love granny squares. And she has a quilt block that she calls Granny Star. And I've got some of my scraps here. And I've got some cut out already. I will link the video. Yeah, well, I can give you the sizes too, but I'll link her video in the descriptions. Let me get to it real quick. And then you can go watch her videos too, because there's not a pattern to this. She just gives a the directions on her videos, so it's all free. So let me grab this link, and then we can get started. So, how's the weather over there in New Jersey, right? Ours is going back and forth, like, I don't know. It was really nice, and then now it's kind of chilly. So, yeah. And I had some technical difficulties starting. Imagine that, me having technical difficulties. So, I thought that I would do a couple of these because I can't really decide on what I want. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you the sizes you need. I have it all written down. So this is called, again, this is called the Granny Star block. For your background, you're going to need 4 2 by 3.5 rectangles. I'm sorry, let me say that again. You're going to need 4 2-inch by 3.5-inch rectangles, 4 2-inch squares, and 8 2 by 1.5-inch rectangles. Hi, Tammy. Thank you. Have a good night, Tammy. And then for your star points, the legs, you're going to need 8 2-inch squares. You're going to need a 1.5-inch square for your center block. And then you're going to need 4 matching, unless you want it super scrappy, matching 1.5-inch squares. So you probably want the 8 2-inch squares. You probably want those matching unless you want it super scrappy, because those are going to be the star legs or star points. And then the 4 1.5-inch squares, again, unless you want it super scrappy, you'll want those 4 to match. And then the center square can be whatever. All right, so I just grabbed some fabric. I kind of want, springy summer type colors. So I've got my backgrounds cut out already. And for that, I am just using, where did it go? This fat quarter that I had. It's just the tone-on-tone floral print with some teeny tiny little colored flowers in it. So I'm going to use that for my background, probably on both of them. But for now, I've just got enough cut for one. Now, the question is, I happen to have 4, and I can cut more if I want, but I have 4, for one block, I think I want to do Tula on the 4 small squares. And then I thought that these are cut from her, I cannot remember what line this is, but it's the one with the dots and the tiger or the panther coming out of it. So I thought I would try to find, I think it's the panther, yeah. I would cut like the face, if I could find one on here where it's looking at you, and put that as the center. And then the 4 matching ones around it. Or I could do, because the color on the face is going to be a green and yellow, so I thought I could do these, do the Tula pink leopard face for the center, and then have this one, 4 of those going around in the for the 4 matching ones. And then for the points, I would do like a purple or a blue. So I would have this, that, and that, and that. Okay. And then in between that, you would have your white blocks. So I could do that. But I don't know if the green is too much, or if I should just do it all scrappy and just do each of them a different color. I do have some cape here cut. I think I want to cut out the face first for the tulip block. Now, let's see. What would be a good one? I don't know where my little tiny ruler is. So. That looks good. No, I don't want to use that one. It's going to take off the face. Well, I guess it's this one. Let me cut it out real quick and we'll see how it looks. So how's everybody doing tonight? Okay, so. Oh no, I am not gonna. I'm gonna cut this close because I don't want to cut into that other piece in case I want to use it for something. I'll put that there. Now I can work on my little. All right. The face is actually too big to use. So we'll have to cut off part of it because it's too big. All right, I think that'll work. Let's see. Well, the poor leopard's not going to have any ears, but that's okay. All right. So let's see. You still have too much on there. All right, here it goes. Cutting his ears off. All right. So we've got that one done. And because it's colored green, I'm not going to use the green I had cut because it's too much. I am, however, going to use this purple. I think that'll go good with that. I'm just going to quickly cut some squares because, of course, I didn't have any cut. Because I wasn't sure what I was using. So. All right, so there's one. Here's two. So I'm just using this purple right here to go around my little teeny tiny leopard face. I don't think y'all can see that. I hope you'll be able to see it better once I get the fabric around it. There's 2, 3. And if it doesn't work, well, it's just fabric. It's okay. It's just scraps. But like I said, I could also do a black background. I do have a Tula black background. And that might help. Let's see. If we did the background as that. Whoa. Well, now I gotta go grab a spare. Hang on. Where did he go? Uh-oh, guys. I lost him. Well, of course I had to lose him. Well, now I gotta find him. Shoot. Where did he go? I don't see him down here. I guess I could use a... I don't want to hit the camera. Well, I don't know where Mr. Tiger went, so I guess we'll use a side-facing profile. Because he's probably right. He's probably right in front of me, and I just don't see it. So we'll grab the Tula again. Darn, that just gives me an excuse to remake it. What a shame. All right. So I think that'll look good. We'll do a black background with the Tula face. And then the other one, we'll just do Scrappy. All right. Let's try the face again, shall we? Okay. All right. We've got the face. Cut out our background real quick. There's really not a lot to this block. So right now I'm going to cut out 4 2-inch by 3.5 inch. And like I said, the link for her video is in the chat. I suggest to go and watch it because, you know, everybody does their stuff different. All right, so we've got 1, 2. Okay. And you really truly do not need a lot of fabric for this. And if you've got tiny scraps, I think this is perfect for it. By 3.5. All right, so we've got our background. Now I need let's see, do I have any? I need to cut a couple of 2 inches here. So this is two, I need 4 2-inch squares. All right, so there's 2 and 4. And then I need 8, 2 by 1.5. Oopsie. There's 2, there's 4. Hopefully I don't have to go grab some more fabric because I really don't want to. I really just want to sew. And to be honest, I really had this all cut out and then I lost it. So these are 8 2 by 1.5. Whoopsie. All right, so I got 4. Oh, that's too short. I can't use that. Too short. Let's see, do I have enough now? 2, 4, 6. I need 2 more of these. All right. Got all my background cut. Get this out of the way here. Save my purples for later. Oh no, I need my 1, 2, 3, and All right, so now I need just want to make sure all my 4 purples are good to go here. All right, here's that one. There's that. Now, we got the background, we got the star points, and now let's see. Do I have everything? Background, middle, star point. Okay. So, ow. We're gonna put this aside here. Bring my little board over here. So, that in the corner. I should have used my smaller board. That in the corner. Corner and corner. Actually, I guess I could probably move it up some. Okay. And oh, you know what I'm missing? Silly me. I need my thingies. So let's see. What do we want to? I think maybe some yellow. Because the purple is going around the center block. So I think yellow for the star points would be kind of nice. Can't have a star without points. All right. And I need to grab some more purple because I just realized I miscut. All right. But that's okay because I had some more. So there's a 4. That's gonna go here, 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 and here. Let me get this a quick press. I kind of wish this had a pattern just for the simple ease of I am not the best at memory because of my MS, and it's a lot. I have to keep going back and forth to look at her video to see if mine is looking like that because there's no written directions, apparently, from what I understood. Maybe in one of her books. I have not always been a Lori Holt fan, and I think that's because I don't, it's probably because of her fabric, But the more I quilt, the more I'm realizing that I love her designs and her newer fabric. I really like. I'm getting ready to order some. So maybe I just didn't realize I was a Lori Holt fan. She definitely knows what she's doing. All right, there's one. Two. Three. There we go. All right, let's fold this over. Now I can double it. What I should have done was actually made one of these blocks, and then I wouldn't have this issue. I'd have a block to look at. But this was kind of all of a sudden. Like I said, I wasn't planning on being live tonight, but I said, what the hell? And also, does anybody know where you can get 18mm replacement blades? All right, let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need 2 more. I'm going to finish cutting this fabric and then I'll check our chit chat. All right, so there's my star points. Jeez, after all that, I need a drink. It's dirty, but today's mug is my Cinderella one. It has Cinderella and Prince Charming. And then on the other side is Cinderella. And inside it says, believe in yourself. There's those and those. Apparently, I don't know how to write either because I forgot to write the rest of it. Where is my notebook? All right, let's see. I have it written down, I think. Okay, maybe I don't. All right. Hopefully I can figure out what she's doing. I do know we're making hats for triangles. From the background fabric. And if I cut these wrong, I'm going to be very, very upset. Okay. So I need or a flying geese, I meant to say. Oh no, Husker triangles. I think it's both. They're Husker triangles that turn out to be flying geese. Give me just a second. I swear we're going to start sewing. All right. So we are going to take our background rectangles. Okay. And we're going to take our star points, our little squares that we're using for the star points. Uh-oh. And then we are going to just a second. There's two. We're going to do a stitch and flip on each side of the triangle. At each end, I mean that side. You know, one of these days I'll have a video that has no issues. And I think the day that happens, we should throw a big party. I will say, when you're cutting a background fabric, especially if it's from scraps, if you've got a pretty good size background fabric or just a fat quarter, cut the larger pieces first in strips. Use a 3.5-inch strip and cut, and then that way you can cut it down. And at the end, you can cut all of your smaller squares and rectangles from the leftover bits from the larger rectangles. All right, so we're simply going to take our 2-inch square and our 2-inch by 3.5-inch rectangle. and we are going to put it at the end. And then we are going to sew diagonally from the top left corner. Wait. Yeah, top left corner to the bottom right corner. We are doing the star points or legs, whatever you want to call them. Oh, wrong way. Let me start it over. You want to sew from, we're doing the star points. So you take your background rectangles and your squares, your 2-inch squares that you cut out for your star feet. Lay your square at the end just like this. Then you're going to want to sew diagonally from the top right corner to the bottom left corner, which is the complete opposite of what I just said. I realized it when I put it under my machine that it was not right. And we need to do 4 of these. And I like the back stitch, even though I just forgot to. And then I take a couple of extra stitches before I lay the next piece down. Now, I'm not going to clip them apart. I'm going to leave them together like this for now. And then I am going to lay my ruler with the 1/4 inch mark on the seam line. And I am going to cut that top corner off. And then we're going to press it. And it should look like that. Now I'm going to do that with all of them. Now, if I hadn't messed up so much earlier with the fabric, I would actually go ahead and sew an extra line and make teeny tiny little house square triangles. But instead, I'm just going to save them, and I will use them. I will sew them together when I'm done. That over there, and I need to switch out my cutter. So let's see, where's my rotary cutter? There it is. So I would like to ask y'all a question. Actually, I have a couple of questions tonight. First question is, who is your favorite fabric designer and why? I'm just setting my seams, folding the dark side over and pressing. Again, I have them flipped over with with my black fabric up. I'm going to set the seam and just gently fold open, my fabric, and I'll get a nice little piece there. Now, I'm going to flip them around and I'm going to put the remaining squares on the opposite side, just like I did earlier. Except for this time, we are sewing from the top right to the bottom left. Happened to my fabric? Apparently, my fabric does not want to be sewed tonight. There it is. It was hiding. It was probably hoping I'd forget or give up. Now, I have no clue how this is going to look because I didn't sew an extra block. But now I am going to cut them apart and trim all the extra threads off. Sure my iron is ready to go. It takes it a minute. It's just one of those cheap little irons. Well, not cheap, but get it at Walmart or Dollar General. All right, so now I can trim. Again, I'm just going to line up on the seam with the 1/4 inch, and I'm going to cut away that top corner. And I'm just going to lay them over there in my little pile. I hope this turns out nice and bright. However, I didn't really have a different background besides the black. I had white, but I didn't really think the white background would let the fabric pop since I'm using such bright colors. And with that teeny tiny little face, I really wanted to make sure that it was going to pop as much as possible. All right, now I'm just going to flip them all over so I can see. So I'm going to, this side is up when I press. That way it makes it easier for me to iron it. Set my seam, open it up nice, and press. Set my seam, open it nice and gentle. And my clapper is hiding right now, so I cannot use it. Because I am still trying to get my room organized and ready to paint here in the next few weeks. All right. So we've got our 4 star points. And since I have my 4 star points, I can now lay them in my block. Now, when you're laying them in your block, you want to make sure that the point is going in toward your block. Oops, that one's not pressed very nice. And if you give me just a minute, I'll show y'all what I mean. So you want your straight edge of your background fabric to face out. So it should look something like that right now. All right. So now we've got our little rectangles. Now I can reset my block here. I really didn't know how far to put it before. So these are on point. I better turn them. All right. So now I'm going to take our small rectangles and we are going to do some strips. Now we're going to construct the granny squares, and I'm just going over the video real quick to make sure I have it right. We had 8 pieces, and they're 2 inches by 1.5 inches. So we want them going this way. Uh-oh. Just a second. Good thing I checked because I think I miscut something. All right, we're going to trim this off just a smidge, like so. Make sure our fabric is nice and even. So I need a 2 by 1.5. Right? I need a 1.5, not a 2. So let me cut my 1.5 squares here. I think what happened was my fabric shifted when I cut because it is not lining up now. There's 2. And there's 4. All right. So we've got our 4. We're going to take our little rectangle of our background. We're going to lay one of our inner squares, or 1.5 inch colored squares in my case, the purple, and we're going to sew. All right. Trim our thread. And we're going to press real quick. And we're going to sew another rectangle at the end. And that's our first row. Okay, and for the second row, oh, I see what I did wrong. Hang on, guys. Back it up, rewind. No, I did it right. Okay. Sorry. Background. For the second row, background rectangle, the granny square, trim this, it's just a smidge too big. Just a smidge. There we go. And we're going to sew those 2 together. Now, the second row, you really want to make sure you've got your fabric in the right order because you're sewing your background, your granny square, and then the center square, and then granny square background for the second row. And then for the third row, background, granny square, clip the threads. We'll need to press. I was looking at her video and it threw me off because she's using a white and I thought I had messed up, but I didn't. I am actually going to clip these apart real quick because that first row is done. All right. Press the seam, fold to the dark side. Press the seam, fold to the dark. All right, base. Center square. I'm really worried I didn't leave enough space. Third row, we're just going to add another rectangle of our background. Flip our seams. Press. All right. So I have to add, trim all these threads, on our center row, our second row. We need to add a background, or not a background, a granny square onto our center square. In my case, it's the little face. And then we are almost there, guys. Add our rectangle. All right, so all right, so now so we have these two leftovers, I think. All right, so first we want to sew our rows together. Actually, no. Take your first row, take your little rectangle, and you are going to put it in the center, just like so. Okay? Then we're going to flip it over with a little 1/4 inch seam. We're going to sew it on. And then we're going to trim our little thread. And, whoops, I didn't center that very well. I didn't center it very well, but it should look like that. Okay. We're gonna leave the center alone. Take our bottom row and do the same thing. But I'm going to make a little crease right there in that center block. And I'm going to make a center crease in my little smaller rectangle here. And then I'm going to line it up the best I can and sew it. And that's our bottom row. So I think tonight we're just going to do the one block, and then I am going to sit down and write my directions out and then come back tomorrow and put another one together. All right, that one's done. This one's done. And I will check the chat here in a sec. Now we're going to sew our rows together. Line your center squares up. We're going to clip our thread. All right. Press and add our next one. Now, I am trying to be as careful as I can not to sew off these edges because I am using a light thread. Because I did not plan on using black fabric. That's okay. All right, so I'm going to press this. Then I'll check the chat and I'll show it to y'all. And then we'll finish putting the block together. Now, oh, that's hot. It's a little lopsided, but it's okay. It's a scrappy block. All right, guys. So now all I'm doing is I'm going to take this. I'm going to take my ruler. And I am going to trim. I need to get one of her rulers because she's got a crisscross on hers and I don't. All right, so I'm just going to trim around to the best of my ability. And I don't think I'm doing it right, but I'm gonna sew. Now we're just gonna do it row by row. Whoa. Like that. Time, Jaden, every time. All right, guys. Well, I'm actually going to have to put this together again because I just miscut it. So I'm going to let y'all go for now and come back tomorrow for take 2 of this darn block because, it's me. Jade, you want to confirm it all? Yeah. With that, guys, thanks for hanging out with me again. Join me tomorrow for take 2 when I redo the block. Bye. It's at the corner.
I see it.